Everyone thinks decluttering is just about having too much stuff. And yes, that is a part of it. But after years of doing this work, I realized that it goes way deeper than that. It is emotional, mental, spiritual, and there are layers to it. Once I learned to manage, or rather master these layers, decluttering finally made sense and everything in my life got lighter. I am talking peace, clarity, energy, and even confidence. And so today I am sharing what those layers are, how each of them show up, and how to clear it for good. If you've heard me talk about this idea of layered decluttering before, then I want you to think of it as a much more in-depth and updated follow-up. And if this is your first time hearing about this, I'm just gonna warn you, girl, be prepared. When I was going through my own big decluttering phase, I realized that all of the things that I was holding on to fit in one of four layers. How easy or how difficult an item was to let go really depended on what layer that item was in. Each of them revealed something about what I was feeling or what I needed, all of these different things that were much more under the surface than just the stuff. So let's talk about each of them and how they show up in different areas of our lives, what they look like, and then most importantly, what to do. Layer one, out of sight, out of mind. This is the clutter that we hide, and we could easily deal with it, but in our heads, we have made it so much bigger than what it is, and so it piles up. The undertone of this layer is generally avoidance and procrastination. It piles up because you may not be sure what to do with it. You really don't want to deal with it, and so you don't. These could be papers, closets, drawers, digital files, all of this stuff that you tuck away until some other point in time. For the longest time, for me, it was paper clutter. And to be completely honest, it was the physical representation of I will deal with that later. I am talking about mail, old credit cards, bills, paperwork, just all of this stuff. When I looked at it, it completely stressed me out. I did not want to look at it. I did not want to deal with it. If I didn't know what to do with it, I just tucked it away where it lived in drawers and bins forever and ever. Amen. And then every time I would walk past it, I would think, ugh, I really should deal with it. But then I wouldn't. And when I started actually dealing with it, what I realized was that even if something is out of sight, it really is not out of mind. It sits in the background of your mental space, taking up energy, and you don't even realize how much it's weighing you down until you actually face it. The thing about layer one is that it gives this illusion of organization. You can close a door, shove a bin, and convince yourself that it's handled, but deep down, you know it's still there. And so, because of that, it is time to stop avoiding and start dealing with it. I want you to ask yourself, what space in your home makes you sigh every time you think about it? What would be easy to start tackling if you gave yourself just 5 to 10 minutes every day with it? This is gonna be your starting point. So how do you do it? I want you to pick one hidden space or type of item. Maybe that is your junk drawer or that stack of coupons that you have never dealt with, and set 5 to 10 minutes to just deal with it. These items are really quick wins. You have no emotional attachment to parting with them or dealing with them, but you just haven't dealt with them because you have convinced yourself that it is easier not to. The goal of this is not to finish it all in this 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, if you can, that's cool, but that's not the goal. The idea is getting some movement, getting out of this place where you have been stuck, and so you don't do anything because you don't know what to do. That freeze response of, I have no clue what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna do nothing at all. We're trying to get out of that. Once you face it, it starts to lose its power. You'll notice that the more you open all of those closed spaces and get to throwing things away, then the lighter your home and actually your head feels. Layer two is happy memories. This is sentimental clutter. And what is interesting about layer two is that on the surface, it doesn't look like clutter. It looks like a warm hug where you think, I might want to remember this one day. These are items that are tied to nostalgia, maybe a little bit of identity, but mostly they are just rooted in love. They make you smile, but here's the kicker. If anything happened to them, you would not be all that frustrated about it. Here, you might be holding on to things because they belong to, or they were given to you by loved ones, or they represent something fun that happened in your life. It could be cards or pictures or random merch that you got at a basketball game, maybe ticket stubs or invitations, gifts you don't like, but you keep anyway. Really? The list goes on. We hold on to these things not because they carry some deep meaning to us, but They remind us of a moment when life felt good, and that's beautiful. But what if you realize that you could keep the feeling without keeping the thing? For me, this has been stuff like little stickers that I got from my nieces when they were like 4 years old, and they were just, I got a chance to see them. It was fun and we were hanging out. And so they were passing me these little stickers that I know they don't remember that they even gave to me. They were also gifts that I got from kids that I once taught, or glasses from wineries. Oh my goodness. My husband and I used to have so many glasses. We like going to wineries, and so we would always get the monogrammed glass where you could do your tasting. And we had all of these random glasses that did not match at all. I also used to get refrigerator magnets of all the places that I visited, but I didn't actually enjoy having a lot of stuff all over my refrigerator. And the thing is, none of this was stuff that I really liked, but I kept it because of the memory. And then I felt bad getting rid of it because I felt like I was just tossing out a good memory. But here's the thing. This layer is not about forgetting. It is about freeing yourself from needing this physical proof that your past was meaningful. You don't need every old winery glass or every old concert t-shirt to remember who you were when you wore it. You don't need every card ever given by everybody as a symbol that you matter. And once I saw that clearly, I understood that decluttering those items didn't necessarily equate to erasing the memory. So here's the thing that I want you to reflect on. What are you holding on to that reflects a season that's already served its purpose? Is there something that you're keeping that reminds you of joy, but it keeps you from moving forward into new joy? And then once you ask yourself those questions, this is what you do. I want you to pick one sentimental item and think of something really intentional to do with it. Maybe that is taking a photo, or writing down the memory, or giving it to someone who will actually use it, and then give yourself permission to let that go. Every time you release something from this layer, you're not losing part of your story. You're creating space in your heart and in your home for the next chapter of your life. Layer 3, my ideal self. This is the layer where things start to get real, and the things that we hold on to start to hit some deep emotional nerve. And the thing is, it is not because of the stuff itself, it is because of what that stuff represents. This is identity-based clutter, and it has two sides. On one side, there is this aspirational clutter, if you will, that represents who you want to become or who you wished that you would be by now. You find yourself wrestling between the gap of your current life and the one you wish that you had, or the one that you dream of. This may include holding on to things like clothes for a body that you used to have or that you hope to have, hobbies and supplies for a version of yourself that never really took form, books that you keep meaning to read when life slows down. These aren't just physical reminders, but they are emotional bookmarks in the story of who you think you should be. And then every time you look at them, you feel this pang of, well, I'm not there yet. I should be doing more. I should be further along than I am by now. That is the mental weight of this layer, because it keeps you tethered to a version of yourself that only exists in either the past or in the someday. And so that's one side of it, where you're holding on to who you wish that you were. But then there's also this alternate dimension where on the other side is fear-based clutter. You hoard to protect yourself from the version of you that you fear becoming. This is where you keep extras just in case future you needs them, or you hold on to stuff because you don't want to be wasteful. You may have a whole lot of shoes and purses and whatever else that you don't wear just in case you need them. Or you might find that you have a pantry full of items, so much so that you could open your own grocery store. Maybe you have things waiting to go to the right place, or things that you keep because you spent money on them and so it would be wasteful to let them go. Or maybe you are trying to be eco-friendly. Fear-based clutter has a whole lot of branches to it. It is this twisted form of idealism that feels smart and it feels safe, but there really is so much fear that is underlying. So you hoard in order to feel like you are in control. It's this belief that if you can just keep enough, prepare enough, plan enough for every possible version of the future, then you can be safe from disappointment. But what it really does is reinforce this idea that you can't trust yourself or God to handle what's ahead without having a backup plan. So how do you declutter this layer? Since everything here represents who you thought you would be or who you fear becoming, This layer is going to take a lot of honesty and it is going to be uncomfortable, but on the other side of that is freedom. So before you start decluttering, I want you to pause and check in with yourself. Ask yourself, what version of me does this item belong to? The woman I thought I'd be or the one I'm scared of becoming? 2, is this something that I actually use or something that helps me feel in control? 3, if I let this go, what story will I have to stop telling myself? 4, am I holding on to this because I trust that I will have what I need when I need it or because I don't? And then 5, when I see this, does this bring me peace or pressure? These questions will help you name the why before the what. Let me give you a quick example with both sides. For aspirational clutter, say you are looking at some crafting supplies. You might go through these questions by saying, okay, what version of me bought this? And then you may answer, well, I thought I was going to get into scrapbooking to keep memories of my kids as they were growing up. And then you realize, well, I haven't actually touched this stuff in like 10 years, but keeping it makes me feel like maybe one day I will become this creative version of myself and do the things that I said that I was going to do with all this stuff. That's when you ask, if I let this go, then what story would I have to stop telling myself? Basically, this boils down to what lie or truth do you need to come to terms with? And so for this one, maybe the story would be, oh, I would be more artistic if I had more time. Is that true? Only you know. Letting those items go doesn't mean that you give up on this dream of being creative. It just means that you're releasing the pressure to prove it with this stuff. You can always create in ways that fit your life now. Or maybe you have this fear-based clutter that comes from guilt. You look at a box of old clothes or broken appliances or random household things and you think, well, I don't want to just throw this stuff away. It feels wasteful. I don't want all of this stuff to end up in a landfill. And so it sits, sometimes for months or even years, while you wait to figure out what the responsible thing is to do. So we're going to go through those questioning strategies with this example. What version of me does this item belong to? The woman who I thought I would be or the one who I am scared of becoming? And if you were honest with yourself, you would answer by saying, well, this actually belongs to the version of me who wants to do the right thing. I care about the planet and I don't want to add to the problem. And so I'm scared that just throwing it away means that I am careless and wasteful. And then you ask yourself, is this something that I actually use or something that helps me feel in control? Maybe your response would be, yes, this absolutely helps me feel in control and like I am being a responsible adult. And then you ask yourself, if I let this thing go, what story would I have to stop telling myself? And then maybe your answer would be, I have to stop telling myself that I have to do this thing perfectly and that it's wasteful for me to let it go. I would also then have to stop telling myself the lie that this is somehow serving the planet by keeping all this junk in my house. And then you would ask yourself, why am I keeping it? Is it because I trust that I will have what I need or because I don't? And as you're going through that, you might be thinking, well, I guess I'm keeping it because I don't trust that it is okay for me to let something go imperfectly. I don't trust that I am deserving of good things if I am the kind of person who would waste all of this type of stuff and then throw it back into wherever. And then finally, you would ask yourself, does this bring me peace or pressure? And the definite answer to that is pressure. Every time I see it, it is a reminder to me that I should have been more responsible. It does not give me peace. It just keeps me stuck. So those are 2 examples for how you would go through the questions for this layer. And I have to say this because I feel like we get so delusional in our heads about the stuff that we keep. Keeping those things does not automatically stop them from being waste. They already are waste. They are cluttering up your home, your peace, and your energy. And so stewardship isn't about letting all of this stuff continue to clutter up your home. It's about recognizing how to do and be better so that you can make better decisions in the future. So how do we move through it? I want you to start by giving both sides of this layer the same grace. The version of you who held on to those things, she was doing her best. She was dreaming, preparing, hoping, and trying to feel secure. And we love her for that. But after looking through your stuff and asking yourself those questions, this is where you need to decide to put up or shut up. Are you going to do something related to the reason that you have been holding on to this stuff that justifies keeping it? Or are you going to recognize that it is clutter, it is trash for you, and you need to let it go? And then As with any type of clutter, start small. Pick one small category. Maybe it is hobby items or shoes or shirts or whatever, and go item by item. Ask yourself those questions over and over again until they become so part of you, and then only keep the things that align with who you are and who you're becoming. Keep the things that support the life that you're building now. Are you going to get through it all in a day? No, you're not. I need you to accept that you're going to look at it today, and you may need to come back to it later because today you weren't fully ready to let go of that thing. But what you did today by addressing it, by looking at it, by pulling it out and actually dealing with it was you planted a seed. Seeds are powerful because they grow, and then you find later on that you know what? I actually don't need this anymore. I'm not tied to it anymore. When you declutter this layer, you're not just making space. You are closing the gap between your old self and the one that you are becoming. You are saying that I trust myself and I trust God and I trust that what's meant for me won't require me to hold on so tight. This is then how you start to declutter from identity and not from insecurity. Give me a second because I am looking at the screen and I just need a little bit more light in here. All right, so we are back and we have light. The sun setting at like 5 o'clock is wild. Like what? So I ain't got no natural light. We got all sorts of artificial light happening up in here. Also, my video, it completely died. I ran out of storage. So I really need this video to like hit somebody, to touch somebody's heart. I don't know who this is for. If it's for you, let me know in the comments that this is for you because the attack that has been on getting this video completed, done, and out, girl, child, it is, whew. But that's okay. We are moving forward. All right, so this last layer is layer 4, which is it is so hard to say goodbye. And this is the hardest layer. I like to call it the heart layer. This is where letting go triggers grief or panic or just this deep body like, no, I absolutely cannot do this. It's not just a sweet and cute nostalgia, but deep attachment. And there are 2 legs that hold this up. One leg of this is fear and scarcity. These may be deeply embedded beliefs about fear and loss and this idea of what if I regret it? The other leg that holds it up is relational attachment. And this is the belief that releasing that item equals releasing the person, releasing the love, maybe feeling like this is all that I have left of them or of that time or of that season. Like layer 2, it is related to memories, but it is uniquely different in presentation. Where layer 2 is gentle and sweet, you like the memory, but it's gentle and tender. Layer 4 is deep resistance. You may have a lump in your throat or tears or panic when you even think about the idea of letting this thing go. Here, letting go can feel like saying goodbye, and that's why it hurts, because it's not just releasing clutter in your home, it is accepting closure. When I started decluttering my things that were in this layer, I realized that I wasn't just sorting through stuff, but I was sorting through some seasons of my life that I realized and could visually see this person, this thing, this time, it is never coming back. And it hurt. A few ways that it can show up is one, maybe you avoid even touching certain boxes because you know that it opens the floodgates for you. Or you feel guilty, disloyal, or anxious at the thought of donating or selling a particular item. You bargain with yourself. You say, I will keep it a little longer and I'll decide later, but later never comes. You equate that object, that thing, with the person or the time or the memory. If I let this go, it means that I am losing them all over again. Or you may say, if I let this go, what kind of daughter or friend or person does that make me? One of the things that I had to learn was that keeping the object to avoid grief traps you in this emotional holding pattern. It delays your healing. It blocks you from being able to experience present joy, and it keeps your home from reflecting the woman that you're becoming and the woman that you want to be. Like with layer 2, you don't have to hold on to the evidence of every chapter to prove that it happened. Sometimes letting go really is how you end up making peace with it. So what do we do with this layer? First, acknowledge the story. Take a moment to really honor what it meant, the person, the season, the memory. Don't avoid it. Give yourself the chance to really think about it and cherish it. And then I want you to decide what to carry forward. If it really is a cherished memory that gives you joy, keep it and find a way to intentionally use it. Maybe that means that you create a keepsake box where you keep a few things that really do bring you joy and gratitude. That way, you end up keeping the essence of it without having everything. If there's an item that you run into that brings you guilt or sadness, ask yourself why. So many times we avoid dealing with an issue because we don't want to feel the pain of it, but all it ends up doing is keeping us stuck. Asking yourself will soften your heart to releasing this thing or these things that are keeping you tied to pain instead of peace and joy and freedom. Sometimes what we're really afraid to let go isn't the item, it is the version of ourselves that existed when that person or that season was around. But you can honor that space without staying stuck there. And then release with intention. Letting go in this layer is not about tossing things in a bag and then calling it a day, but really about being honest with yourself about what it is that you are ready to release. You might get emotional, and that's okay. Take your time. This isn't about rushing. It is about being real with where you are and getting ready for what's next. Having emotions isn't a bad thing, and they aren't a signal that you are doing something wrong by even considering the idea of letting it go. And the thing is, I can't say when you'll be ready to let it go, but when you allow yourself to be open to the idea of it, you'll know. The important thing to remember here is that the people, the seasons, the experiences that shaped you, they don't disappear just because the items do. They have already helped build who you are today. When you declutter from that understanding, your past stops weighing you down and it starts working for you as perspective and strength. And that really is what freedom looks like on the other side of goodbye. So, those are the 4 layers. And when you step back and look at all of them, you realize that decluttering really isn't about the stuff at all. It is about healing, it's about identity. It is about learning to stop carrying the weight of the things that no longer fit the woman that you're becoming. Clutter isn't random. It is a mirror. Everything that you keep is showing you and telling you something about where you've been and about where it's time for you to go. When you deal with the out of sight, out of mind clutter, you stop hiding from your responsibilities. When you release the happy memories clutter, you let your home reflect the life that you have now, not just your life back then. When you declutter your ideal self, you stop chasing perfection and you embrace progress. And then when you face the it's so hard to say goodbye layer, you realize that letting go doesn't erase the past, but it makes room for what's next. If this message resonated with you and you found yourself saying, yep, that is me, you were nodding your head along and you were thinking, yeah, I might need to go watch this again, that is a sign to you that it's time. It is time to reset your energy and your purpose and your peace by getting rid of this stuff and starting to deal with it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to share it with someone else who needs it. Also, if you're not subscribed, like, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. Alrighty, my friends, I love you so much, and I will see you in my next. Mwah. Bye for now.